Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tales of Three, an all-queer, narrative-driven D&D podcast where your three GMs are also your three PCs. My name is Dusty. My pronouns are they, she, and I play Ivy Nightbreeze Tinkerfay, whose pronouns are she, her, and honestly, I just wish that every single possum would view me as like a cool aunt. That's all I want in life.
Hello, everyone. My name is Ariana. My pronouns are she, her, and I play Elara Spindlespark, whose pronouns are also she, her. And I don't know what to say. I don't have anything to say this time. I'm sad, Elara.
Are you in your sad girl era?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. My name is Wayra. My pronouns are she, they, and I play Véres, whose pronouns are he, they. I just killed a bunch of people.
You did. Not in real life.
No, last session. Oh boy. Oh boy.
A note regarding content warnings. This campaign is a dark fantasy that deals consistently with topics of body horror, complicated relationship dynamics, emotional distress, fantasy violence, gore, mechanized spiders, mental health and illness, profanity, and romantic and sexual relationships. A full list of episode-specific content warnings can always be found in the show notes of each episode. Last time, Nate and Minnie sealed their fate by attacking when given one last chance to live, while Gringor was spared and given a warning to never speak of what happened. Elara and Ivy made their way back to the inn, and Véres stayed behind to clean up the mess. With memories still buzzing through their mind and a growing anger, we learn that Véres knew Philippe and Avery Abraxas quite well. Aiden's parents knew of Kerwin and Alara's meeting in Palebrook a few years ago, and Kerwin had brutally warned them to never speak of it. Still piecing the memories together, along with what he had overheard Minnie saying, Véres understood Philippe and Avery had broken their word again. Old tendencies quickly returned, and in a flash of arcane energy, Véres disappeared from the woods, and we zoomed in on a manor in Ixalan. Véres shifted and revealed himself to be Kerwin Hamel, infamous second-in-command of the Resented. And we saw a bit of what Kerwin was capable of as he murdered Philippe and Avery for breaking their word and going after Elara. Back in Reus, Ivy convinced Elara to stay in her room, and the two tiptoed around talking about what happened. Once settled, Elara began taking things out of her pockets while Ivy watched wordlessly, and we pick up now amidst a pile of Alara's things. So after a while, you start to see these kind of little piles start to amass. Ivy, you see a pile of essentially your things, right? Because she's been carrying your stuff ever since Grimford. There's all these little piles of kind of things that when you glance at them, they don't make sense, but you think they must make sense in Alara's mind because she's looking at stuff and then looks like she's making a decision and then placing it into a pile. And very quickly, she is surrounded by things from her pockets, gems, notebooks. She's throwing empty vials. She's throwing crumpled up pieces of paper over her shoulder, mumbling under her breath, essentially about how much shit she has and how stupid it is to be having this jacket and walking around with all this stuff. She takes out her block and tackle, she started taking out the bigger things at this point. Her brain is moving faster than she can physically do things, and she will just kind of continue doing that. And she looks like she's in her own space, her own world, her own head. Yeah.
I think it's at this point that the girls will hear a knock at the door.
I think she jumps and her eyes, her head kind of whips around. Whatever. Maybe she had a gem in her hand or something and she it drops to the floor.
I think Ivy will get up and go to the door and answer it. Pull it open a little bit so that she can see who's outside.
She sees Véres standing there.
She opens the door and lets him in.
You see Elara has a dagger in her hand.
He kind of gives Ivy a half smile and walks in to see Elara standing there with a dagger in her hands. And he just kind of puts his hands up a little bit, but doesn't really make eye contact with her.
I think that she relaxes a little bit and you can see a little bit of relief on her face. She lets out a breath and her chest kind of sags down. How does Véres look?
I think a little tired, but for the most part, okay. I think that he's taking a moment currently taking the room, and then Ivy and Elara in turn. I think they can both tell that he's really worried about them, but he's keeping his distance. There's so much running through his head right now, and he feels unstable. I think with like the memories that came back, the fight with Minnie, watching his friends get hurt, and then slipping into his old persona, and then murdering Philip and Avery, he's hanging on by like a fucking thread, trying to keep his composure. So he decides to focus on what's real, and he just kind of like looks around the room and eyes the piles of Alara's things.
I think Ivy like feels the tension. She herself is trying to process everything that happened, struggling with not remembering a lot of it, but knowing from what she witnessed and putting the rest together through context, that feeling that was left after the wolf took over, that need to protect her friends, she doesn't want to talk about it. So I think she defaults to what she always does, and she tries to lighten the mood. So, you're welcome to join our slumber party? She looks at Véres.
I think he tears his eyes away from the copious piles that are around the room and looks at you finally and raises an eyebrow. You're having a what, sorry?
A slumber party?
What is that? She's staying here? Is that?
To put it plainly, yes. I mean, it's always nice to put a little pizzazz on things, but sure, yes, she's just staying in my room. If you'd like to, you're also welcome.
I think they kind of shift their weight a bit on their feet, as if they're debating to leave. Are you sure? I didn't want to impose.
I mean, I was going to ask you anyways, so you're not imposing. This worked out in my head that all of us would be staying in the same room, so you'd just be slotting into the space that I created for you.
He nods. He looks at Elara and says, is that all right with you as well?
She puts the dagger back into the pile of daggers and she nods. Yeah, I think that maybe it's better if we stay together in case something, bad happens again. And she like glances at the window. I'm gonna empty my pockets out, and then once I get everything out, maybe I can go sell it or something and just get rid of most of it, and then I'll just have a regular jacket. And then this won't happen again. So that'll be fine. I just have to get through, all of this stuff. And I think that she starts going back to taking things out of her pockets, just kind of like pacing around the room, taking stuff out, looking at it, throwing it, or putting it somewhere that really doesn't make much sense. And again, kind of mumbling to herself again, what she needs, what she doesn't need.
Véres looks at Ivy and looks back at Elara, almost like confused.
Ivy's also confused.
They nod, and Ivy will watch as Véres starts following Elara around the room at a distance, giving her space to be in her head. But it's just like almost like a habit, picking up the things that she throws randomly and starts putting them on a desk in the room and organizing piles.
I think if there's like a lull in Elara's like sort of muttering, Ivy sort of like lightly taps the chest and goes, "How are you going to carry this around without the jacket?"
She looks up and looks to the pile of bigger things. I'm not. I'm going to get rid of. I'm going to get rid of everything. I can't. I shouldn't. Be carrying all this stuff around in this jacket. It's dangerous and it can get us in trouble. So I can sell it. I can sell it. Maybe I can sell it, and it's a lot of stuff.
So if you want to get rid of anything that could get us into trouble, me by virtue of being here gets us into trouble.
She kind of thinks about it for a second and like mumbles under her breath, like, well, we're obviously not going to get rid of you, and then goes back to like sorting her piles and taking stuff out of her pockets.
And I think after a little bit, Ivy goes, "Elara, how long have you had this jacket for?"
Like 4.5 years, maybe, since I started working on it.
And in that time, how many people have tried to take it? Different people?
No one. But that's because only 2 people besides me knew about it.
Apparently more people knew about it.
Yeah, because, somebody told on me. So if I don't have it anymore, then it won't be true that I have it. And then?
But how would they know that you got rid of it? And more so, it seemed like they wanted you more so than they wanted the jacket. The jacket is an asset to you.
They wanted the book. They wanted the jacket.
And they wanted you, Elara. If you just want somebody's things, you either take those things or you don't take the person alive.
They only wanted me because they think I know where Aiden is, if I had to guess.
Do you know where Aiden is?
She shakes her head no.
All right, so send them a letter that says, hey bitches, I don't know where your fuck-ass child is.
At the mention of Aiden and their parents, Véres kind of like shifts his weight uncomfortably and just like doubles down, focusing on organizing the vials he's picked up.
I don't understand why.
Shitty people do shitty things. Unfortunately, there's really no why, other than because they felt like it.
Well, it doesn't matter. The jacket is a liability, and the book is a liability.
Both of those things are also wildly helpful. Unfortunately, Elara, sometimes things are liabilities, but we need to keep them because they help us get out of situations that are created. Without your jacket or the Book of Runes, we'd be dead. And they would have still come after you.
Not if I never had them to begin with.
But you knew of their child. They are looking for their child. Regardless of what you were or were not working on, they still would have come after you. The jacket and the book were just consolation prizes for these people.
No.
Are you saying that if you didn't have the jacket and the book, but you knew Aiden, they wouldn't have come after you for information on Aiden?
So I think that she's quiet for a minute because, again, her mind is swimming. She knows that something big must have happened for them to, try to fucking kidnap her, right? But she doesn't know what happened. And I don't think that she actually wants to think about it at all right now. They wouldn't come after me like this.
Are you sure?
It doesn't make any sense.
If not for this way, they should have just come to you straight up, regardless, because then they could have gotten the shit from you.
As he goes to pick up and organize a few more of her things, he says, I don't think you should get rid of your jacket, Elara. Or the book.
If I didn't have it, this wouldn't have happened. The first time they came after me, they tried to take the jacket. They didn't try to take me. Maybe they got mad, that they couldn't get it.
I think he does look at her this time. There is a part of him that wants to make her understand how shitty the world can be, but he knows that she's kind of fragile right now. And none of them have the head for this conversation anyway. But he does say, oh, did they take your jacket to lure you into the alleyway to take you? You were in a public space. We'll never know, unfortunately.
I think she just stares at all of the stuff.
I don't think that you should get rid of something that you spent so much time and effort creating. It's such a great asset to you, as Ivy said. And the book has helped you with many of your inventions and will probably continue to do so.
The book is stolen.
I had a feeling that was the case.
Ivy's just nodding in the background yeah.
She shrugs.
If you're so worried about the book, maybe what if you took the time to make a copy, every page in that book, and then sent the original back, anonymously through the mail?
Well, because it would get stolen by someone. Can't just send it in the mail.
Carrier pigeon?
Also, do you know how difficult it is to how precise you have to be to replicate these runes? It would take years. It's a thick tome.
Could we hire a wizard to magically copy it? That's a thing, right? They have to copy spells into their own spell book. They probably have magic ways to do it.
Most people do it by hand.
Damn.
And besides, the whole point is that nobody knows about this book.
Could reskin it.
It already is reskinned.
What does it say on the front? I always assumed it said Big Book of Runes.
It's funny because you look at it, Ivy, and you realize that you've never actually seen a title on the book.
Hmm.
The harder that you look at it, the more it's almost like there's something that's distracting you and trying to get you to look away.
Ivy nods, impressed.
It's enchanted to make itself, I guess, kind of unseen, or like it doesn't matter, or like you don't really think about it too much. But if you really try, or if you know what you're looking for, you can see it.
I think Ivy is going to nod in appreciation, and then she's going to go, I think maybe we should talk about this in the morning. Let's just not do anything hasty. Let's not get up at the crack of dawn and secretly sell things. I think maybe we should have another conversation in the light of morning once we've had some sleep. As much as we can get.
She nods.
I think Ivy is going to go over to the window and take out some rope and start like tying it together so that it can't be opened.
Make a sleight of hand. A knot check.
Cool, that's a nat 1. She's struggling.
I think she can't reach the window. No, I'm kidding.
How high is this window? No, she keeps doing that knot that like automatically, like when you pull it, it just unties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
Like,
she's trying not to let the others see how much she's struggling because she wanted to do this like cool moment of like helping. No, she's like.
Does Vera see that out of the corner of their eye?
What's your passive?
18.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think Vera ceases his collecting and goes over to Ivy and like pats her shoulder. Does he need some help?
Stupid piece of fucking rope. Is this does one of you enchant this rope to not tie knots? Is this like a practical joke or something?
Why would I ever enchant a rope to not tie?
She throws her hands up in the air.
Also, that implies my ability to enchant. And I think he'll help her with the window.
I think right before that, she points at Bia and she's like, I know it's you, bitch.
Slide it. What the fuck?
Did you?
I got a natural 20.
oh, nice.
Total of 26. But like,
Incredible.
why untying the window shut? Like, come on.
To make up for my nat 1.
First roll of the game. My first roll of the game. Yeah, I think he'll help Ivy and like show her how to secure the window.
She's sulking a bit, but she does like pay attention.
Yeah, and he's not explaining it in a way that's like trying to put her down. He's just like, this is how you do it.
Amar's sitting on the floor, now in a pile of books and papers. Some are crumpled up, some are folded, some are flat, and she's going through and just throwing stuff and sorting stuff.
I think when he's done fastening the window shut, he's gonna go over and start picking up the shit that she's organizing and putting it in neat piles as she goes through and chucks them away, you know?
I think Ivy's going to sit in the chair, and I think she's going to watch for a minute, but then she's going to just sort of quietly start trancing because she wants to be able to be up in the morning to make sure Elara doesn't sneak out.
That's smart.
Ferris, what is your passive perception?
18.
As you are picking up these pieces of paper, you see two things that catch your eye. And two of these are you picking up like the crumpled up ones or?
Oh, of course. Everything that she chucks, she's going to pick up and organize somewhere else in the room.
Okay. So the first one of the first one that you see that you notice that stands out to you. It's crumpled up. And as you're kind of putting it down, are you like throwing out the crumpled ones or like?
No, he doesn't know if she's throwing these things away because of anxiety or if they actually are important and she's just like, fuck it.
If she needs her crumpled up pieces of paper
he
that are in
know.
her pocket.
Everything was put in her pockets for a reason, you know?
As you kind of drop one into its like spot, you know, you pick up this crumpled piece of paper and you go to put it wherever you're going to put it. You see crinkled up, you know, the way that it's folded, you can see the word wanted on it.
He pauses putting it down. I think he's gonna carefully unfold it and like smooth it out.
It is a wanted poster for you, Karen Hamel. It's old. It looks like it's been crumpled up for a long time. but it's your name, your face, your old face, one of your faces.
I think he puts his hands on the desk and looks at it. Just like leaning a little bit.
Elara's not watching you, so she doesn't see, and Ivy's trancing.
That's why he's taking a moment. I think he puts the paper back in the pile. File it away for later.
Okay. And then as you put that piece of paper down, your hand kind of, I think, brushes against another crumbled up piece of paper. This one is less crumbled up. And you glance at it, and you see the words, made of bones, attacking a guard. Like those are the words that you can make out crumbled up.
Unfolding that too. What is this?
This, Véres, looks like a piece of a newspaper dated the 27th of Freyul, and it reads, "Beware citizens of Vitrum. Fey creature escapes portal for the first time in post-forsaking recorded history. The creature, made of bones, left a trailing blue mist in its wake," a source close to the city guard claimed. After attacking a guard on duty, the feral beast was seen fleeing from the western wall. And then below it is a drawing of a huge wolf creature made of bones attacking a figure wearing a Vitrum guard uniform. And with sudden certainty and clarity, you realize that Ivy did in fact come through the portal in Vitrum. She just doesn't remember because she was the wolf.
And I think he rubs his face. Just holy fuck. What is this day? Now it's also not the time to talk about that. He's gonna put that in his pocket. That's
Okay.
going to Ivy later. He's stealing it. Yeah, I think he's just gonna keep helping Elara with her piles. And after a little bit of like the repetitive motion, I think maybe is what causes it, of like bending and overextending and lifting. I think some of his injuries that were like a little bit, they had just like closed over, are torn open again.
Where like the daggers and stuff were?
Not from the daggers, actually. I don't know if Elara will realize because she probably didn't see everywhere they got hit, but these injuries were acquired during his fight with Avery. I think he has 2 kind of like lashes from the plant across his forearms that he didn't even think to hide. Not that it would have mattered, because the wounds have reopened and are actively bleeding. I think he lets out like a little grunt of pain as he moves the big chest over.
I think that when Elara hears that, she will look up from sorting her piles upon piles of things. And when she sees that he's bleeding through his shirt, I think that she like kind of moves really quickly, making some of her stuff kind of clash and clatter together. And she grabs one of her like vials, jars of salve, and she's like, "Véres, you're bleeding."
I think he sets down what he was carrying and he looks at his arms. Is that, "So I am. Sorry, I thought I dealt with these already."
And she opens up the jar. "Well, this will help. Can I?"
I think he hesitates for a moment and then he nods. "Oh, of course." And he like gently peels the bloodied shirt from his skin and rolls up his sleeves, like holds his arms out.
And she'll gently but firmly apply the salve. I forgot to ask when you came back. I asked Ivy if she was hurt, and I didn't ask you if you were hurt. I'm sorry.
No, you've got nothing to be sorry for, Elara. I'm all right.
I didn't And she looks up. Didn't you get like a gash on your chin too?
Yeah, I did.
So she looks up, kind of like noticing it again. Can I?
I think he nods.
And she slowly takes your chin in her hand and kind of like angles it so she can apply the salve.
I think that when she touches his chin, what hand does she touch him with?
Her left hand.
The one that she
She's a
hurt?
lefty. Mm-hmm.
I think without really thinking about it, he kind of reaches out and gently takes her wrist and moves her hand away from his face to look at it.
It's got a recently closed like hole. She had like the ice knife went like through her hand.
How does it feel? Are you all right?
I think she looks away. She has 2 bruised eyes and a swollen nose, and her shirt is bloodied from the stomach wounds. But I think she like kind of slowly closes her fist and like opens it again, and it still looks painful because it's like barely closed over. Ivy healed it. So I think it's gonna be okay.
I think he smiles a little, kind of relieved. I think you should worry more about yourself than me, Elara. You were really hurt back there.
Well, I mean, I am worried about me, but I got healed, so now it's time to help you. And she will apply the salve to Varys's chin. And I think when she's done, she looks at you and she goes, I didn't see it on when you were pretending, when you shifted into the kid, all of your wounds were gone.
Yeah, I can make injuries appear to not be there. I mean, obviously they're still there somewhere. It's just I can hide them. Injuries, scars, anything to make sure that the appearance is what I want it to reflect.
She nods and she looks at you, I think. Well, don't ever hide your injuries from me, okay? Or Ivy. If you're hurt, you tell us, okay?
They nod. Alright, I will.
She nods and kind of like steps away and looks at the pile of things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And she'll hand you some like ointment for this that'll help with the scars. Thank you for coming after me and saving me.
Of course, I wasn't going to leave you with them.
She nods.
We would have gotten you one way or another.
I know. I just wish we didn't have to. Well, that you both didn't have to kill them.
I do too. I really do. But if presented with that issue again, I can't say that I would have made a different decision. So,
well, she kind of sighs, because she does not have the energy for this conversation now, and I don't even know if she knows how she really even feels about it all yet. I'm really tired, but I don't think that I'm gonna get to sleep, so if you want to sleep, and I can take first watch while I continue to sort this mess,
you didn't want to at least try?
No.
I'll stay up with you for a little while, if you'd like.
And she kind of looks away. I think I would.
I think he sits on the floor with her, and like giving her a bit of space, some extra distance, but he's still there.
She's just gonna sort through her stuff and kind of talk to herself, maybe make some offhanded comments to Varys now and then. So I do think that the night passes without incident. Does Varys sleep?
Yeah, I think he does.
Ivy trances. Does Ivy do anything when she wakes up from her trance? Alara's taking a level of exhaustion. I'm just gonna throw it out there. She's not gonna sleep.
I think she wakes up and sees Elara still doing shit. She just doesn't say anything. I think she picks up her book and starts writing in it.
I think that Varys has been up for a few minutes, quietly watching them, and he just kind of goes over the events of the last, 12 hours, essentially. Less than that, really. There's so many new pieces of information that he has to sit there and sort through. The realization that he did actually know Elara. There wasn't just a familiar feeling. He knew her. To what capacity, he doesn't know. Then going off and killing 2 people after killing Minnie and Nate. There's just so many emotions to process, and he just doesn't really have time to right now.
I think that Elara was up all night working on projects and jumping at every noise that she heard and doing that thing where she thinks when you think you hear something, so you strain your ears to try to listen and see, but nothing came. So Ivy, if you haven't said anything, you've pretty much been witness to Elara in the most, I think, mad scientist that you've ever seen her. She has started and stopped 6 projects overnight that are kind of laying now in different piles. The room looks like a hoarder's haven at this point because everything is still out of her pockets. When you finally come to, I think, and decide to be awake, she has taken apart her watch and she's currently sitting on the floor with her goggles on, and she's got like a little jeweler's kit out. Like the whole watch, all the mechanisms, everything has been taken out of the watch, and she's just trying to figure stuff out, it looks like.
I think Ivy stops writing in her book and closes it, and she goes, What are you doing with the watch?
Well, trying to figure out why it was spinning out of control. To no avail. I've taken it apart and put it back together like 6 times now, and it is broken again.
She nods. Is it still stuck on the times that it was stuck on when it stopped, or did it revert back to what it was before?
No, I mean, I can move the hands around. They just don't move. Yeah, they just don't move on their own. She shrugs.
Maybe it's magic?
I don't see any runes or enchantments on it as far as I can tell. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not really good with mechanical things. Probably best I don't even touch the watch, or I'll probably break it even more somehow.
I'll have to ask Véres when it started. Did you touch it? Maybe like your magic made it spin or something.
I didn't touch it, no.
She nods and starts putting it back together.
I think that Varys, he's like laying on his stomach essentially, looking up at you, like looking at you guys. It sort of started spinning as soon as I picked up your worry stone, which, and they reach into their pocket. I must have put it in my pack.
She waves her hand like, don't worry about it, give it to me later. It just started spinning?
It did.
She starts messing with it again.
Honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of time to think about it. I just sort of grabbed it and went to get Ivy.
She nods. I thought maybe like if one of you touched it or something, it like activated or just added to the pile of weird things, I guess.
He rests his head back down and chuckles. There's certainly no end of that.
Well, I made a compromise last night. I made a list of all the things that I'm getting rid of in my pockets. And she holds up like a long scroll, like piece of parchment, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I cataloged everything. And after we save the town from whatever's going on in the tower, then I am going to get rid of a bunch of my stuff and just keep stuff in my pockets that can only fit in my pockets. So as everybody get ready, because we're going up the mountain today. And we're gonna save the town from the trouble.
Did I miss something with the tower?
Huh?
How is the tower hurting the town?
You know, the stone beast lives up in the mountain. There is a weird tower that everyone is saying isn't there anymore. And you need to go to a tower to find your wizard. So I just thought everything is just one big thing, and we go up there and we solve the mystery and you get your wizard, and then once you get your wizard, we will have stuff will have been figured out, you know, and then we just move forward and we just keep moving forward. And that's what we're gonna do, because that's what adventurers do, right? They help people and they save the day and they do good things and they do good deeds. That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do. And it's gonna be fine, and there's gonna be a positive outcome. I think definitely if we just are focused on making sure that that we're doing the right thing and that we're helping people, and I think that's what's the most important thing that we have to do. So, and she kind of nods. So that's what we're gonna do.
I'm gonna insight check Elara super quick.
Yeah.
What are you checking for?
Can I give her the help action?
Sure, and take advantage.
Cool.
First one is a 22.
Like, should we be intervening right now?
22.
Oh, I got a 15. So this is okay. Couple of things. This is classic Elara has not slept energy, coupled with something I think that you probably haven't really seen or experienced before. She seems a little manic. It's almost like she's trying to convince not only the both of you, but also herself that she's just fine.
So it seems like she's kind of just like avoiding the fact that last night even happened.
Oh yeah. I think her continual mention of being adventurers and like doing what's right, and we have to just keep moving forward with that insight roll, it's almost like she thinks she can erase what she believes is a bad deed by doing good deeds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I think Ivy doesn't want to talk about it right now because I think she realizes how fragile Elara is. And I think that she feels like any sort of like, hey, baby girl, let's talk about it right now will just devolve back into, I'm going to sell all my shit and I'm going to become a monk and I'm going to like, it's just going to devolve. And I think she's like, all right, kind of getting somewhere with her being like, let's go. She's like, all right, okay, we'll talk about it later.
Fair.
I think it's complicated in a lot of ways. I feel like Véres wants to say something to her, but he doesn't know what to say or how to say it or how to really even talk to her right now. And there's so much that he wants to say about this whole being an adventurer and doing something good and to outweigh the bad. Because, like, yeah, that is a balance that adventurers definitely have to maintain. But the thing that she's not grasping, this adventurer thing that she keeps hooking onto, is adventurers aren't necessarily good people. When you read stories about adventurers, they often leave out the shitty things they had to do to get to where they are, to make a difference, to help people. It really glamorizes and idolizes the adventurer / hero life. No one ever talks about the shitty things. And I don't think that he, right now especially, with how she is, I don't think he wants to bring that up. So I think that it's a conversation for later.
I feel like there was a moment at the very beginning where Ivy and Véres just sort of looked at each other and both just went, no, not today.
Not right now.
Yeah.
She's moving and she wants to leave her room. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
I think Véres is very much afraid that, I don't know about Ivy, but I think Véres is very much afraid that she was going to lock herself away.
Oh, Ivy was like nervous that they were going to wake up and she would just be gone and then come back and be like, I sold all my shit. I'm going to live at a nunnery.
Nice to meet you all, but I'm going to go devote myself to a god. All right, well, I suppose if we're going to focus on doing the good, we should probably get to move on, yeah?
Ivy nods.
Yeah.
All right.
Though I do think it would be wise to get washed up before we head out into public. He sort of gestures to everybody's blood-stained clothing.
No, it's the latest fashion. What are you talking about?
Ivy, why don't you go get washed up? I'll stay here with her and we'll switch out.
Sounds good. And Ivy takes Bia and goes and gets washed up and comes back. She also washed up Bia while they were in there, and Bia is pouting currently.
While Ivy's in the washroom, Véres kind of looks at Elara and says, did you sleep at all?
No.
Are you sure you want to do this today? Go up the mountain and all that? We don't have to do it today.
No, we should, because then maybe I'll be so tired that I'll have no choice but to fall asleep. And I think when Ivy comes out, she'll go into the washroom and she kind of pokes her head out and she looks at them both. Can you both just wait here until I'm done? And she like glances at the window.
It's still tight closed. Yeah, of course. I'll stay here.
And she'll get washed up and she'll come back out.
I think once the door closes, Ivy turns to Véres and sort of like does one of those like motions with her hands that's like sort of everywhere. Just sort of like,
what the fuck?
Yeah, like what the fuck motion.
Véres just shakes her head. I don't know, Ivy. I think she just needs some time.
So Ivy realized something was going on with Véres when Véres had that like moment.
Yeah.
So she hesitates for a second. So what happened? Where did you go? I mean, not like in a physical sense, in like a...
Fuck. The way his heart just dropped to his stomach. Like, what do you mean? Where did I go? Did you see me teleport? What the fuck?
Ivy knows all.
Huh?
No, she goes, not in like a physical sense. I meant like in like a mental. Where did I have to pull you back from, Daz?
I think that he's caught off guard. A myriad of like emotions play across his face at once. And Something happened and I don't have words to explain it right now. I think I'm still processing myself, to be honest. So maybe give me some time and I'll be able to tell you.
All right. Is it something bad?
It might be.
She nods. Is it something that I'm going to have to bring you back from often? Maybe in like battle?
Oh gods, I hope not. That is a good question. I don't know.
Is the way I handled it okay? Should I like have slapped you or
No.
like
You know, I think if you had slapped me, you might have gotten hurt, so
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
that's
I,
why I didn't do it. So I'm good on my instincts there.
I think you were right on the money with that, actually. It was to be stuck in a place where I was and to have something unfamiliar that's not part of what I'm seeing, it really helped to sort of bring me back. Thank you.
Of course. You'd do the same for me.
I would, it's true.
Just whenever you work it out in that head of yours, just let me know.
I will. We need to talk about this for sure at some point. We should not sweep this under the rug, so to speak.
There's probably a lot we should talk about at some point, if we're being honest.
Definitely.
And she motions to the bathroom. Probably that sooner rather than later.
I hope so. Mm-hmm.
She's moving. I think that's about as much as we can hope for right now.
It's scary what she went through. So, what we all went through, I think everyone needs some time.
Well, I've never been through what she's been through, so I can only imagine.
So I guess I think we'll wait for Elara to come out, and Véres will take his turn and leave those two to talk.
And I think she comes out and she just like sits down on the bed.
So how was the shower?
Oh, it was good. Took a long time to get all the blood off. I didn't realize.
I feel like once it sort of cakes on, we probably should have washed up last night, but you know.
Yeah.
So, do you think we'll meet the wizard today, or?
Well, it takes 5 days to get to the top. And she pulls out the pamphlet. So, not today. But we'll get there. That'll be good.
She nods.
We'll figure out what's going on, and fix it.
I think you guys watch as Bia climbs up the chair and like stands on the seat part of the chair, and you watch her reach into your hood and grab out with her claw Norman.
Mm-hmm.
And then she flies over to you and puts Norman on top of your head.
Aw. She kind of pats Bia. Thank you.
Bia flies around you a couple times.
Well, I think Véres comes out a few moments later, and he's very clearly dressed in the same outfit that he wore for Sneaky Sneaks, with the addition of like a climbing harness. He's ready to go.
Ivy's dressed too for climbing.
Ivy's in her climbing outfit.
What does her climbing outfit look like?
I think she picked up like cargo pants at one point after they made fun of her.
Aw.
For her outfit. So she's got cargo pants on. Her hair is in little braided pigtails.
Cool. Elara, I think she's wearing like dark green cargo pants and like a white tank top, and she's got her jacket on over it. And she sees that they're both dressed and she kind of smiles. Okay, are we ready to climb a mountain?
No, Ivy says as she clips Bia to a little harness. Is anyone ever ready to climb a mountain?
Well,
Véres, don't.
he smiles and he shrugs.
Elara kind of giggles. I think as they're about to leave, Elara gets a glance at herself in the mirror, and she sees her bruised eyes and her swollen face, and she looks at Véres and goes, hey Véres, do you have another makeup kit? I don't want to walk around like this, and she points to her face.
I think he looks at her and thinks about it and nods and goes to his pack and kind of pulls out a makeup kit and starts like mixing a couple colors together. I do. This might hurt a little to put on though.
She nods. I think she's like mentally preparing to flinch when they touch her, but she doesn't, and she kind of relaxes and lets Véres apply the makeup.
I hate this for her.
Mm-hmm.
You can roll sleight of hand for the makeup.
Yeah, it's 18.
I think you can seal the bruises, and she looks much less beat up. So I think that we go give our room keys back.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
We have to buy. Did we buy we didn't buy them yet, right? We said we would buy them when we go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you hand your keys to Samantha. She sort of like waves and she's like, have a good day. So we get to the Mountain Information Center and it is open. People tend to do their hikes pretty early in the morning. What time do we think it is currently?
Probably shortly after sunup.
So it's really early. It's probably like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. And we walk inside and Hammy is currently at the information desk. And he looks up. He goes, all right, did you guys want to go up?
And Véres nods. Yep, today's the day.
Great. All right. So where are we going?
To the top.
Oh, okay. Did you want a guide?
No, I think we'll be all right.
All right. So it's going to be 10 gold each. And I do need the 3 of you to sign these waivers. And
we
he
signed
slides.
the waivers last time we were here.
Oh.
We did.
He sorts through his piles of paperwork and towards the bottom are our 3 waivers and he nods.
He goes, great. Okay. That'll be 10 gold each then.
Véres will spot them.
30 gold gone.
All right. Well, good luck. See you in 10 days.
See you in 10 days.
So the 3 of us leave the mountain center and we begin to make our way up the mountain. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's early in the morning. It's a bit chilly, about 50 degrees, but the sun is warm and there's a light breeze in the air. There's still dew on the foliage and there is still kind of this dampness to the morning air, but you can tell it's going to be a nice day for climbing. And the sky is clear, and right now where you are, there's just a trail that's kind of surrounded by trees that leads up a steady incline. It doesn't take long before you all start to work up a sweat. I think we're traveling in relative silence, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think so. Everyone lost in their thoughts.
Yeah, I think Elara's kind of focused on the task at hand, and her mind is swimming anyway with her own thoughts,
I think Ivy is keeping an eye on both Elara and Véres.
Mm-hmm.
She's concerned for both of her friends right now. One of them is
Yeah.
spacing out into another dimension. The other one is a little manic.
They're all keeping an eye on each other because Véres is watching those two, making sure that they don't slip and fall or hurt themselves. He's a little concerned that they might get hurt. So
I'm going to say, I think for the sake of brevity, that the first day is fairly simple. I think that we pass people going up and down on the way.
Mm-hmm.
Friendly faces are like, oh, hey, you're a hiker too. It is a mostly steady incline. I think at some points it gets a little steep, but day 1 is really kind of simple. And there's no real, maybe for Elara, because she's exhausted, but I think even Ivy is like, okay, there's some parts where it gets a little bit steeper, but for the most part, it's pretty manageable.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody want to do anything on the first day up the mountain? Anything you want to talk about while we're walking? Anything you want to stop and look for?
Is Pearl out?
Yes. What does Pearl bring back, Dusty? Does Bia go with Pearl
Yes.
at this point? Okay.
You watch as Bia and Pearl ride off. Bia's riding on Pearl.
Mm-hmm. Obsessed.
All right, so that's a 79.
79.
Pearl brings you back a silver bell.
Ooh. So she's just tinging
Yeah.
the whole way
You know
back.
that she's getting closer because you hear the ting, 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 ting.
Yeah.
And she's got this pretty decent sized bell in her mouth.
I think we're walking. I think it's about midday, maybe before we're going to stop for maybe a late lunch. And off in the distance, everybody starts to hear this ting, 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 ting. And Elara kind of jumps, I think, at the, just because, she's a little bit jumpy. I think you've noticed when people pass, she does that kind of quick, nervous smile and definitely keeps her distance from people. And then the sound gets closer and closer, and I think she looks at Véres and Ivy the bell is ringing. Does Bia come back riding Pearl, or how do they arrive?
Yes, Bia does come back riding on Pearl.
Okay, so they burst out of a bush. Elara jumps, and then when she sees that it's Pearl, she's and she takes the bell. She takes out her new inventory catalog, writes the word bell, and puts the bell in her pocket. And I think around like mid-afternoon, they'll probably stop and take a break at Elara's behest, have some lunch. Does anybody want to talk about anything on the lunch break? I think Elara just like is eating her rations. And I think that she is just overwhelmed with her brain thoughts. She's trying to process some things. I think she's in denial about some things. I think she's trying to figure out how she feels about how it all went down last night, but also trying to not think about it. So I just don't think she has much to talk about.
I think Ivy feels like the mood is really weird right now.
Mm-hmm.
And she can be abrasive without realizing it or meaning to be. So I think that's why she sort of like keeps quiet.
Because I think that Véres has sat down beside Ivy instead of between Ivy and Elara. This whole time, he's been kind of keeping his distance from Elara a little bit. Even like on the way up when they were walking too close to each other, he would either fall back slightly or speed up a little bit. And now he's sitting there and just kind of like absentmindedly chewing on rations, thinking about everything that's happened, all the shit that he's remembered. Again, he's just lost trying to sort through everything and really like kicking himself a little bit. Probably a little more than kicking himself, I think. I feel like that's too light of a phrase for how he feels about his reaction and his immediate response to the situation last night, and then what he went off to do afterwards. He was trying so fucking hard to be different, to change, to start over, and he fell back into old habits so goddamn easily. It's so infuriating to him. So I think he's wallowing in a little bit of self-loathing.
So it's just 3 sad pandas, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So you travel on, continuing up, and as you continue up, you'll see the landscape starts to change. At some points, the trees will kind of thin out, and it's just like a large path upward with big rocks and like dirt paths. It's still pretty well traveled. At one point, you all hear the trickle of water, and eventually you come upon like a stream. And as you go up the path, it kind of meanders closer and then further away. At some point, you open up to like a very small, multi-level, like little baby waterfall. And you see some people, families playing near the water, and they kind of wave as you pass.
I think Véres kind of gives him a little wave back.
So does Ivy.
Yeah, Elara smiles at them and keeps walking. And I think that you get to a point where there's like the scenic route and then the more like we're going up the mountain route. We have a map, right?
Yes, yeah, we got a map.
Yeah, I think we took like the informational stuff. And so you know that in order to get where we want to go, we need to go the more difficult way up. It's a steeper climb. It's rockier. It looks like even at some points that you may need to kind of lean forward and use your hands. They do have like ropes that you can hold on to pull yourself up. So I'm going to have everybody make an athletics check to get ourselves up. Because are we going to go until dark, you think? Or?
Probably till sundown so they can find a spot.
Yeah. So we're starting to get there. So we can either stop here and look for a place to camp, or we can try to get up to the next hump.
Up to the next, I think.
The next hump.
Elara's going to make athletics a disadvantage.
Véres is going to be like, so can we just tie each other to one another for safety? Side glances at Elara.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just in case one of us falls.
We all fall together.
I was more so thinking, we could catch one another.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can. I mean, if you fall, we're all falling together.
Just cut me.
No.
Cut me loose.
I do have feather fall, so we'll be, falling slowly, as they say.
Good to know.
So we tie ourselves together. Wow, that's a good thing. What order are we tied in, and what order are we climbing in?
I'll be in the front, yeah.
Okay. Who goes next?
The one who doesn't have disadvantage right now.
Okay. And Elara's at the back. So what everyone get on their athletics checks?
22.
Nice.
17.
3.
Beautiful.
So it's not a super hard, it wasn't a high DC. I mean, that she failed it. It was higher than a 3. So you start to go, And I think for a little while you can kind of walk up, right? And they have the rope at this one part because you can see as it goes up, it gets steeper. And there's definitely some hand and footholds. And then there's the rope that people can kind of use as well for like additional safety, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys go for about, I would say like 15 minutes up before you have to start to lean forward and start to kind of climb your way up. And Véres, no problem. You're having to go slower just to accommodate for Ivy and Elara. Ivy, you're doing a great job. You got your cargo pants on. You feeling really like you can really move.
Feeling adventurous.
Yep. You're like, I could. This is a thing. I'm doing it. And Elara is just like huffing and puffing at the end. You think she's probably trying not to cry. She's exhausted. Like she's exhausted at this point. And she's also kind of beat up from yesterday. And so I think that as she goes to she puts her other hand, she gets one foot. And then as she lifts her other foot, she just barely kind of misses the foothold. And she slips and starts to slide down a little bit. Ivy, you immediately feel the pull
rope tug
on yours. Make an athletics check to see if you can hold it.
Don't fucking fail me. Okay. 15.
Okay, so I think what happens is she starts to fall and she's trying to like grab on, but her fingers slide. You feel it go taut and you instinctively grab the rope as like a secondary hold. Véres, you feel a little bit of a pull. Ivy, you slide a little bit, but Ivy, you yourself are able to stabilize. And then I think with Véres just on top as like the anchor, do you grab the rope as well, Véres, when you feel it, or what do you do?
Yeah, I think he does.
Okay. And so the two of you are able to kind of stop her. After the dust kind of falls, you see her kind of like look up and she just nods and then like slowly. It's also starting to get dark. You all have dark vision, but it is still harder to see in general. Mm-hmm. After another like 15 minutes, you're able to crest this little top and you find yourselves on like this kind of flatter piece of rock and you see that the path continues to go up if you choose to go. And you'll travel until eventually the sun begins to set.
Thanks so much for listening. We're incredibly grateful for the love and support.
And P.S. if you want more content, check out our Patreon for free clips, bonus scenes, and if you join the Red Rogues, you'll get access to the Rainbow Dice Club chat and after show where we talk about past episodes.
If you're enjoying the show, please consider leaving us a 5-star review and tell your friends about us.
Special thanks to our Green Fiend Patreon supporters, Jen Bear and Michael.
And with that, our story pause is here for today. Join us next time as we continue our adventures, and remember, it's never too late to start your own.
Bye!
Hello, everyone. My name is Ariana. My pronouns are moving in my chair. Hello. Yeah, she pulled a dagger out of
the pile of daggers.
Out of
Véres's dagger pile.
Yeah, she did.
Listen, he was only hand here like 3, okay? It's not that many.
They multiplied more. Somehow.
Yeah.
The chest is the biggest item that she has, right? Or is there something bigger?
I think technically the block and tackle is like when you actually, but in all honesty,
bulk, I guess.
The block and tackle is like a fantasy weird thing that we've just made work. But yeah, the chest is a big thing.
It just plants the seed in Elara's brain.
To get rid of Ivy?
No. to realize that she doesn't need to get rid of these things.
Yeah.
Wildly helpful as she doesn't have the best side. Where's my D20? There it is. Ivy's in her climbing outfit.
What does her climbing outfit look like?
Yeah. Lalimus again.
She's wearing a black gown.
She's got like silk material cargo pants.
Silk material.
No.
I feel so much energy right now,
We couldn't tell.
I can tell.
One opted for sarcasm and one opted for honesty. If that's not sibling dynamics, I don't know what is.
And the way it was the same pitch, too. Mm-hmm. It went up and then down.
Yep.
30 gold.
Oh, he needs to get rid of it. There's so much.
Elara Elara makes note on her spreadsheet.
She does. No, I don't have track. I only have track of Ivy and Alara's gold.
Yeah, I keep track
Oh,
of
fair.
mine. It's fine.
But I'll make
That's
a
really
note for my
fun.
continuity.
It's okay. I'm deducting as we go, so